Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to get some thoughts out that over the last couple of days, been just catching up on what's happening around the world. And then I just want to give some comments on Jonathan Kahn. Okay, he's a preacher. Checking the sound. He's a preacher, and he does a prophetic ministry in the Christian circles. And I just want to highlight just something about the thought on what they call the Antichrist, those that will not follow Jesus, the Messiah, and what it means for the rest of the world that doesn't follow that belief and ideology. And we're going to take it from there. Okay. I'm just checking to see the camera is acting up a bit. So let's just see when it's going to see if it can focus. So we take it there. Okay. All right. So let's just start. There's two things that I want to just highlight when it comes to that. So just remember what the channel's about. It's building a strong Israel and a Jewish people. So the Christian movement, which is you've got those that recognize the importance of Israel and the Jewish people, and they do support, and that is obviously greatly valued. The only thing is what I try and, or I don't know what the solution is, but we need to just highlight what the scriptures actually say and what it means for the end times. Because in my opinion, and when we actually look at the text, those that drive this movement, the Christian movement, with not the full knowledge, can be moving the world into confrontation and war. Because if you look at what Revelations actually says, there's a lot of war and destruction that is going to be coming. So in my opinion, these prophets or these Bible scholars from the Christian side actually are standing behind the warmongers. Like if you look into history as well, under the banner of Christianity, it has always it's brought the wars and destruction of certainly the Jewish people. So what I want to do is just keep that top of mind for all of us to be able to let's have the conversations, because in my opinion it should be looking at are the texts really from God? Was it prophesied in the Hebrew texts? And what does it mean for us going into what they call the end times? Okay, so I'm just going to have a short section of it just to bring the context, and then I'm just going to go to scripture and just give my thoughts on that as well. Okay, so let's take a look.
Follow the Antichrist. And this has never happened before modern times. Only again in the 20th and 21st century has seen the greatest falling away in the history of the faith, the greatest, most rapid, widespread overturning of morality in human history. It can be seen in what happened to the Soviet Union. It can be seen in what happened to Germany when it turned away. It can be seen what's happening now in America and much of the world. It is the most massive de-Christianization the world has ever seen. So much so that the majority of the newest, youngest generation may not even consider themselves to be even nominally Christian, but something else, pagan, nothing. It's not only that we're witnessing the rise of a non-Christian civilization, we're witnessing the rise of an anti-Christian civilization. Now, if the Christ leads to a Christian civilization, what does an anti-Christian civilization lead to? The Antichrist. So it's not just that the Antichrist is going to come out of the blue and say, hey guys, let's do this. Messiah came at the time prepared. The Antichrist will come to a world prepared for him. He will be accepted, welcomed, and then worshiped. So what will we have to see happen? We'd have to see the Christian civilization for the last 2,000 years begin transforming, morphing away from God. We've watched it. We're watching it happen every day. First to a non-Christian civilization, mainstream culture, then to an anti-Christian mainstream culture. Just look at the Olympics.
They don't believe how toxic this is.
Okay, so if you can see what's been painted, this world that has been called is going to be the Antichrist, the anti-Christian, or anti-Jesus.
Even
Okay.
a few years ago.
So that is used then to actually say it's going to be godless. Okay, but if we look at what the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible says, is those like even the Jewish people that understand the Hebrew Bible, it's not following Christ is not moving away from God. It's you're looking at the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it's not that you ungodly. It just means that you're not choosing Christ to pointing you to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I'm going to stop there because what I want to do is then show what it actually says in Revelations, which Jonathan says he's a prophet, so he speaks out of Revelations or all of those books that have got prophecies. Okay, so what I want to do is just go to Revelation 6, okay, and if we're looking at what we're saying, that's the Antichrist, and if you're taking Christ out, that the Christians need to be careful because then you're moving into a godless society, not counting all of those that recognize that there's only one God, not Jesus as God, the Messiah as well. Because this is in Revelation, just a short excerpt that I'll show, that these teachers of the Christian faith that actually preach like this are standing behind those that want confrontation for the human race. Okay, because they're actually saying you're taking out Christ, so you're antichrist, so we're going to have to follow what the scriptures actually say, wait for this Messiah called Jesus to come, and then this is what he's going to be doing on the earth when he actually comes back. So So if we go to Revelation 6, then one of the things it actually says, it says, I watched as the Lamb opened the first 7 seals. I heard one of the 4 living creatures say in a voice like a thunder, come. I looked, and there before me was a white horse. The rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror, bent on conquest. Okay? When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, come. Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. When the Lamb opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, come. I look, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hands. And then I heard what sounded like the voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages. Do not damage the oil and the wine. Okay. So just looking further, if we go when the Lamb, if we get to the 4th seal, the 4th living creature said came. I didn't touch on the previous one because that wasn't on the actual focus on this talk. I just wanted to focus on the war and the violence that is predicted. Okay, so it's just let's highlight that to even the Christian movement and say, listen, what are we doing? Okay, so the 4th seal is, I heard a voice from the 4th living creature, come. I looked, and there before me was a pale horse, and his rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over the 4th of the earth to kill by sword, famine, plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Okay, so this is, I'm just going to stop there because we're just going to get further on into what this says. So, in my mind, these preachers or these Bible scholars from the Christian faith should, in my opinion, be looking into all these texts to be able to then tie it back to what the Hebrew Bible says, tie it back to, is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, going to bring, or said that he was going to bring all this destruction on humankind, okay, through his son, which is in the Christian side said to be the Messiah, going to bring that on the earth. Should we not be looking at who created these texts, during what time was it created, and to what end was it created? Okay, was it to bring peace on earth, or was it to bring destruction on earth? So if you take the other ideology in religion, which is the Islamic one, that has also brought destruction and death, and said to bring destruction and death in the future as well. So if we're looking at these prophets outside of what the Hebrew Bible is, why are they bringing all this death and destruction? Okay, the ones that ended in the Hebrew Bible did prophesy on certain of the empires, but then the last empire that comes is the one which Mashiach brings, which is going to be peace on earth, where the nations will take their swords and turn them into plowshares. The lion is going to lie with the lamb, okay, and that's the true Mashiach. That's the one that's going to bring peace on earth, so that we can all live together and we can all serve God as He wants them to be served. Okay? And stop, in my opinion, stop trying to bring the destruction of Israel and the Jewish people with some other religion and ideology that is not bringing in the peace on earth. So that's my food for thought today. What we need to do is work together just to understand what true peace is and see and read between the lines on who's bringing the death and destruction, who's going to bring in all of this war and violence. How do we then hand that down to future generations and say, listen, prepare yourself for all of this destruction? Whereas if you can take the text and you can actually say, well, these were written by a conquering empire to bring in a certain ideology, belief system, and also to maintain order and structure, because this is built obviously into fear. You put this into fear, you get that into your followers and say, okay, wait, you can't change your beliefs or your ideology, because if you're outside of it, this is what's going to happen to you. Okay, you're going to be taken out by this lamb, which is obviously in the Christian side we know to be Jesus, the Messiah. When he first came, he didn't bring peace. The second time when he's coming, it says, then they'll line it back to what the Mashiach is going to do to bring peace on earth, but not before all of this is going to happen, all the death and destruction. I haven't even gone into, it goes with other references, because there's 1/3 of the world population that's going to be totally destroyed. So, and that's just in Revelations. So, it just feels like I want to bring some good news, because these videos obviously are not bringing some good news, but I think the good news is we just need to keep praying and working with those that really stand behind Israel and the Jewish people to actually highlight these things, so that we can actually work together to bring peace, total peace, and understanding on what God wants, where free choice lies, and how to work together, and not give room for the warmongers of the world to be able to use these movements and everything to be able to bring in the destruction that they are hoping for or want. I'm not sure how these people are there, but we live in that world. So my hope is that everyone has a good day. Let's keep working together to be able to come to the proper realization of how this all ends for the good of all humanity, and not just for the selected few, if we can call it that. So be encouraged, stay strong. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. Cheers.